How's it going? Welcome to Chats with Spencer. My guest this week is a member of the K-pop cover group Lynxcats. She is Moon. I had such an enjoyable time talking with Moon, and I have to say, she probably gave one of the best, most sincere and sweet answers to a question I've asked. I'll let you guess which question that is. Moon is such a down-to-earth and kind person, and I know you'll enjoy the interview. Please make sure to check out Lynxcats on YouTube, links in the description below for some amazing covers. This video is going to be slightly different than usual because instead of having two separate videos for my 11 questions and the main interview, I'm combining them into one. So the 11 questions I usually ask in a separate interview will be preceding the longer interview. Also, like to mention that this video is just audio, but it's still great and definitely worth listening to all the way through. Anyway, sit back, enjoy my interview with Lynxcats member Moon. Moon, can you just tell us about yourself in 20 to 30 seconds?
So hi, I am Moon from Lynxcats, and I'm one of the members from Brazil, and I am 20 years old. It's a pleasure to be here.
What food reminds you of your childhood?
I would say pasta, because I used to eat it a lot with my parents.
What's one movie that had an impact on you, Moon?
Howl's Moving Castle is an animation from Studio Ghibli.
If you had your own television show, what do you think the theme song would be?
I think it would be a television show about books and books adaptations to the cinemas. Yeah, that's it.
Do you think do you have a song do you think would be like the intro into it?
I think it could be Howl's Moving Castle soundtrack. One that is called Merry-Go-Round. It's a pretty cute piano soundtrack, and I think it would fit the theme.
What's one food you think everyone should try?
Macaroons. They are super yummy and pretty delicious.
What's one book you would recommend people to read?
Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen.
What's your favorite pastime outside of music?
I really love writing and reading.
What's the most picturesque place you've been in the world?
I don't go out a lot, so
That's okay.
I don't
you could
think
just
I
say
can
like,
have an answer.
well, you can just say like, what do you think the most beautiful place in the world is?
I think forests are the most beautiful places in the world, but I don't have like a specific location.
Who was your favorite teacher growing up, Moon?
No idea.
Or just like someone who taught you something, maybe.
My parents, I guess.
What's your go-to late night snack?
A fruit.
And the last one is just someone who inspires you.
My parents inspire me a lot.
All right, Moon, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you doing?
I am great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well, and I'm happy you're here today. So, Moon, maybe you can give us a little bit of background on yourself. Just talk a little bit about where you grew up, the kind of kid you were, and maybe some of the interests you had as a kid.
I've always been a pretty shy person, so I don't think it fits my personality when I tell people that I'm from a big city. So most people act like I am a person from the interior or something like that. But yeah, I was always pretty shy. I've always enjoyed reading books and writing, and since I was a kid, I've always taken good grades at school. So people used to call me a nerd and stuff like that. Yeah, besides that, I think I'm just a plain person. I really don't have anything interesting about myself.
In the sense of music, how did you get started with singing?
Since I was a kid, actually, I've always enjoyed singing and pretty much writing down my own songs and composing my own songs. So yeah, since I was a kid, but none of my parents had much influence on that. I just heard songs on the radio and I would sing and I would act like I was having my own show or something like that. So
Do you remember, is there a song, Moon, for you that you have a really good memory of from a kid? So maybe it's a song that you heard on the radio or maybe a song your parents played, but for some reason you remember it very, very well right now.
a lot of songs from TV shows, like those kids TV shows.
Okay.
But if I had to sing right now, I wouldn't be able to
No, it's
remember
okay.
anything. And also Shakira. I used to sing Shakira songs in the car. It was a pretty fun time with my parents.
Okay, do you remember, Moon, by any chance, the first album you either asked for, you bought, or you downloaded?
Yeah, it was one by Selena Gomez but I don't remember the name. I think it was Who Is or something like that.
Okay.
It was the first album I've ever got, and I remember I was so excited about it that I took a picture with the album and I posted it as my Facebook picture, and I left it for like 2 years as my Facebook profile picture. And I was so hyped for that album. It was so good.
Just in regards to, you kind of mentioned, I guess, in the previous question, just I guess like about anime. Were you
Yeah.
big into anime as a kid, and are you still big into anime?
Yeah, I've always loved anime, and it all started with Studio Ghibli. I watched it Spirited Away, and I fell
Okay.
in love with it. It was so good. And then after that, I started watching more animes, like especially shoujo animes. I absolutely love those.
Okay.
And now that I'm older, I don't really watch much animes, just like Kuroko no Basket and Haikyuu, those sport animes. I just
Okay.
watch them sometimes. But most of the time I just stick to books and mangas instead of animes.
Okay. What are some of the animes that you would say are your favorites from just like your childhood or even now?
The most important one, like I am very grateful that I got to know it,
Mm-hmm.
was Kimi ni Todoke.
Okay.
The translation is From Me to You. I think that the reason why I really love that one and why it is so memorable is because I really relate to the protagonist of
Okay.
the anime.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I'm having a hard time or going through something that reminds me of that anime, I feel some kind of comfort. So it's pretty memorable to me.
And same in regards to manga. Is there any one that sticks out in your mind as something you would recommend to people to read, or just one you really enjoy?
Akatsuki no Yona is a pretty good anime if you're into shoujo and action at the same time. It has a pretty deep storyline, and the character arcs are so good. It's really good. You should read it.
Just as a follow up, with your interest in manga, did you learn Japanese to read it?
Yeah,
Okay.
but you can say that I'm not really good at it.
Okay, no, because when I was talking to Mio, she kind of said that I guess she had a similar experience. I don't know. I believe she got into it because of anime as well. But would you say you two are the strongest Japanese speakers in Lynxcats?
No, no way. She's the only good one when it comes to
Oh, okay,
Japanese.
okay.
I started learning Japanese when I was 10, but
Mm-hmm.
after a year, I just gave up.
Okay.
And I don't really know why. I think it's because I have a really hard time when it comes to recognizing the characters.
Oh,
Like
okay.
it's everything is drawn when it comes to Japanese, so I don't really know which character means what. so
Yes,
so
yes,
I
yes.
just gave up.
And how's your Korean? I know that when I spoke to Mio, she said that most, if not all, of you guys, I guess, know Hangul enough, I guess, to read it, right?
Yeah, Hangul is way more easier because you could say that it doesn't really change according to the word that you write in. So it kind of sticks to an alphabet itself. But when it comes to Japanese, the words kind of morph, and
Okay.
there are so many different ways to write the same thing. So Hangul is way more easier, and we all know it. We all know how to read it. To write, it's a different story because it's way harder. But to read, it's completely okay.
Do you feel more comfortable singing in Japanese versus Korean, or do you have a preference?
No, it's way easier to sing in Korean, I
Okay.
think. And that's because for the past 3 years, I've only been singing in Korean, and Japanese wasn't really a thing. So I got used to it.
So I just gotta ask, in regards to your latest, I guess the latest Lynxcat release, Arcade Love. How was that doing that? Was it like a totally different experience doing your own content kind of thing, or was it very similar to the recording process it is usually?
It was pretty different, especially because this time we didn't have the original song to follow. It was
Okay.
more everything came from us.
Oh
So
yes.
so we started from scratch, and it was way harder because we had to talk to each other and trying to find the right rhythms and the right melodies and the right lyrics, and that's way harder than just covering a song. So you have to take care of everything and you have to make sure that everyone is at the same place because it's your first song, it's your first single. You want to make sure that everyone is having a good time and everyone is living that with the same experience. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's pretty different.
Okay, and just overall, what was your experience like? Did you enjoy kind of having that creative freedom versus doing something like a cover?
Yeah, it's a pretty new experience. Like if it was my first time writing a song, so being able to write down what I was feeling instead of singing something that was written by someone else, it was pretty different and pretty refreshing in some kind of way. So completely different and pretty exciting at the same time.
And just, I guess, for your Lynxcats fans out there, what's your favorite part of Arcade Love?
My favorite parts are the ones that Myio and Kali sung. Those parts, they are written in a pretty honest way.
Okay.
So whenever you're reading the lyrics, you can see that they are pretty pure and honest. And the way that they sung their parts just makes my heart flutter. So it's so cute, you know, they have this energy and it's so refreshing and you'll listen to it. And if those parts weren't in the song, I think the outcome would have been completely different. So those are my favorite parts.
What's one thing, Moon, people might find surprising about you? So maybe that's like a hidden talent, an odd interest, but something along those lines.
It could be something that I'm afraid of.
Sure.
I'm afraid of butterflies.
Oh, geez, okay.
Because one got stuck in my ears at some
Ooh,
point.
okay.
And it was pretty disgusting. I cried a lot.
Yeah, that does definitely sounds like a traumatic experience, and
Yeah.
it warrants that. I don't know if you watched or you watch K dramas, but
Yeah.
it's okay to not be okay. That's one of the main characters is like terrified of butterflies, so it just made me think of that.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. I love that show.
Oh, I guess while we're on the subject, what are some of your favorite K dramas that you watch?
I have this Netflix one that I really love. It's called Crash Landing on You.
Oh,
I think that's the name. It's such a great K drama. I've watched it like 8 times. I'm not tired of it. Like, and I got so happy when I found out that the actors were dating, and it like their chemistry just felt right. So I'm glad I really enjoyed that one. And the other one that I really love is Because This Is My First Life. I don't know if you ever watched it.
No,
but no, it's so good. It's so refreshing and it's so lively and it is dramatic at the same time. But it's not something that you watch and you feel stressed when you watch it. It's more like you get to know more about yourself as you're watching that TV show. So it's pretty good. I totally recommend it.
Okay, no, I'll definitely check it out. But yes, I did watch Crash Landing on You as well, and I don't know, I didn't know if I was gonna like it that much when I went into it because I kind of knew the premise. And it's like, oh, okay, is this gonna be like super cheesy? But I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was so funny when when they finally make it to South Korea, and they're like. Yeah, people who have watched the show will know exactly what I'm talking about. But a bunch of North Koreans are in South Korea, and it's just so funny. Like the experiences they go through, and it's great. And also just the chemistry between the two leads is amazing. And that show, I swear, they say I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but it's so heartbreaking in the sense of how many times they have to say goodbye to each other.
Yes,
in that
it
show.
is.
You know, like every time you're just like, oh my god.
Here we go again.
Exactly. Is this really goodbye this time? You know, that kind of thing. But yeah, highly recommend that show. It's very, very funny, but very like heartfelt as well.
Yeah.
So Moon, if you could visit any time period, so I'm gonna just preface this by saying, so let's just say you're in this bubble where you're invisible to the rest of the world, you're safe from everything. But you can go back in time and witness anything from like the beginning of time or like the beginning of the earth till now. Where do you go and why?
No one has ever asked me that before, so
All right, good.
I think I would really like to go to the ancient Egypt.
Okay.
I really want to know what it was like to have those pyramids and, you know, live in that contest. It
Hmm.
seems so breathtaking in some
Hmm.
way.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I think it would be really nice to visit that period of time.
Yeah, I think anything where it's just like far before our time when life was so different would be so interesting to see, and especially
Yeah.
like Egypt would be interesting because we have our theories about how they made the pyramids and stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
to actually like be there and witness it would be
Amazing.
unreal, right? Just to see something of that magnitude be built right in front of you without modern technology, right? So
Yeah, would be awesome.
so we're just gonna switch pace a little bit and just do some less in-depth questions. But if you want to stop me, Moon, feel free. Okay.
Okay.
Do you prefer cats or dogs?
Cats. I have cats, by the way.
Did you have cats during all your life?
Yeah, since I was a kid, I've always had a cat. But at some
Mm-hmm.
point, my parents got us a dog. But
Okay.
I got completely scared of it. Like
Okay.
I almost climbed the fridge to escape from the dog. Yeah, so I'm not the best when it comes to dogs. They're
Okay.
cute and all, but I prefer cats.
That's fair. That's fair. Do you prefer spring or fall?
Fall.
Yeah, I know Miho said you basically have like two seasons, right? More or
Yeah.
less in Brazil.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Now, fall is beautiful. If you go to a place where you see the changes in leaves and the change in temperature, yeah, it's really nice. Do you like M&Ms or Skittles?
Skittles.
What's one of your favorite movies?
Pan's Labyrinth?
Oh,
The
Pan's
Lambert.
Labyrinth. Yes.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's so good. I love that movie.
Moon, if you were to go on a vacation, would you prefer an adventurous one or a relaxing one?
An adventurous one, for
Are you
sure.
one of those people who would do something a little bit let's say dangerous, or would you like are you up for something like bungee jumping or like climbing something along that line?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going out, I'm going
Hmm.
out all the way, you know?
Good, no, it's a good attitude to be. What was one of your
Okay.
favorite TV shows as a kid?
I don't think people are going to know this one
It's okay.
because Brazilian TV shows are just
Oh, okay.
different.
Okay, you just throw it out there, and if they know, they know.
I really liked Castelo rá It was a pretty it was a pretty cute tale about a castle and there
Hmm.
were like this magic pigeons.
Hmm. Okay.
And it was really nice to watch that as soon as I got home from school.
Okay.
So it's a pretty memorable TV show.
Moon, if your next meal could be anything in the world, what would it be?
A bagel because we don't have bagels in Brazil.
That's so funny. Just because we, as a place where you can get bagels, it's you take that for granted. But yeah.
Yeah.
When you were little, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I wanted to be a singer.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
What's your go-to snack when you go to a corner store?
I really like fruit snacks. I think
Okay.
they are the best, but I don't have like a brand in mind or something like that.
What's your favorite song to perform?
Any Beckerian song, to be
Okay.
honest. I
Mhm.
love her song so much. So, whatever song I choose, as long as it is from her, I can sing it all day.
If you were in a K-pop group that was, like in Korea and performing, what would your position be in the group?
I don't think I'm good enough to be main at anything.
Okay, that's fine.
So, I think I would be like lead vocalist or lead rapper or something
Okay.
like that. But
Okay.
definitely not a main vocalist or a center or anything like that.
That's all right. Who's your ultimate bias? So like of all groups, all artists, who's your ultimate bias, if there is one?
I would say Beckerian
Hmm.
and Hase from Luna.
Uh, just in regards to Yeren, how did you discover her, and like what's the story behind that?
First time I heard a song that she had written
Hmm.
was Bye Bye My Blue.
Okay.
And my friend sung it to me. And I was like, okay. I mean, she doesn't seem that talented, right? So whatever.
Okay.
But after a few years, I started listening to her songs again, and I just fell in love.
Hmm.
Especially because the way she writes her lyrics is something that I really can relate to, And I
Okay.
can see that she's really passionate about music. So whenever I listen to her songs, I feel like I've emerged in this amazing world of possibilities and
Mm-hmm.
fantasies.
Mm-hmm.
So I really love listening to her songs, and her music just calls me down. And I don't know, it's something like her heart speaks to my heart in some kind of
Okay.
way.
No, no, that's fair. So would you say like it's more her writing that gets you, or is
Yeah.
it like the okay, okay, all right. I mean that's completely fair. If it some songs speak to you, right? What's your favorite cover that you've done with Lynxcats?
I have to be part of the cover, or
You could do both. You could say like one you're part of and one that you just liked in general, I guess.
I would say Cry for Me
Okay.
was a really good one. And one that I wasn't in, but I really enjoy listening to is 0 O'Clock. I think the girls did an amazing job on that one.
What are some K-pop groups you enjoy listening to? I know you mentioned Luna, and I've read that I guess on like one of the Instagram posts, but you
Mm.
don't have like a lot of groups listed. Do you mainly just listen to Luna and Yeren kind of thing?
Yeah, it really depends on my mood,
Okay.
actually. So sometimes I feel like listening to some hip hop, so I go and switch to NCT and I
Mm-hmm.
just spend the week listening to NCT.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess that overall, you could say that I really enjoy listening to Luna, Red Velvet, NCT, Backyareen, and Monster X. I really
Oh,
enjoy
Monsta X.
listening to
Okay,
Monster X.
okay. Out of those groups, I don't know them too well. Aside from Red Velvet, so I guess as a Red Velvet fan, I'm just gonna ask you, who's your bias for Red Velvet?
Silky.
Okay, Silgi is a solid choice. She seems like a really down to earth, cool person. But
Yeah.
I always got to go with Silgi and Wendy are mine, just because Wendy is just the vocals. Wendy,
Yeah,
like
she's so
unreal, right?
talented, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god.
And she just seems like such a sweet person as well. So,
Yeah.
if you could re-record any album from like first track to last track, what album would that be? And I guess you could say, okay, you don't have to necessarily do it solo. You could do it with Lynxcats, but if you want to answer the question from the point of view of solo, that's okay too.
I think that if it was a solo,
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely cover Backyareen's new album
Okay.
that
Okay.
is called Tell Us About Yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And if it was a album with the rest of the Lynxcats members,
Mm-hmm.
I guess I would choose Luna or Red Velvet.
Mm-hmm.
And Mo, what's the name? Red Velvet's last album was,
Perfect Velvet? No, finale or something. I can't
yeah, it
remember.
was Grand Finale. I guess
Mhm.
that would be the one that we could
Okay.
cover.
Well. Oh yeah, I love that album.
It's so
Really
good.
great. And yeah, Psycho, like just to start it off, is just insane.
Yeah, right? So
Mhm.
good.
So I had to ask just because, I've already spoken to her, and I
Mm-hmm.
told Mio that I was going to ask you about her. Tell us about Miho. Maybe is she as nice as as she seems? Do you have any funny stories to share with us?
There's a fun fact, I guess you could
Okay.
say.
Okay.
Mio always had her solo channel since I was a little kid. Like, I was 10 years old and she already had her channel.
Oh, okay.
And she would post this Portuguese versions of Vocaloid songs.
Okay. Okay.
So I was really into Vocaloid when I was 10 years old. And I just found her channel and I fell in love with her. I fell in
Oh,
love
okay.
with her voice, and I would legit spend the day singing her versions in Portuguese. And
Okay.
I would feel so, oh my god, I'm Mio's biggest fan and stuff like that. And then at some point I started my own channel
Yes.
and I made friends with Mio friends,
Mm-hmm.
and she introduced me to Mio.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like a dream come true. I was like, oh my god, I
Mm-hmm.
can't believe I'm talking to you and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And she was so sweet, and I didn't really think that she would be as sweet, because
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you have kind of this ideal image about someone,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
then you get to know them and you're kind
Mm-hmm.
of nervous because you don't know if they are as good as you thought
Mm-hmm.
they were.
Mm-hmm.
But she was so sweet, and she always treated me so kindly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And she, after getting to know her in this last year, I guess, She has showed herself to be such a great friend,
Mm-hmm.
and whenever one of us is going through a hard time, she's always there by our side, and she's
Nice.
telling us actually, she's telling us that everything's going to be okay. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, she's the oldest, so you can say that we all feel like she's our oldest sister in some kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
So we can always count with her and stuff like that. And yeah, she's so pure and she's so nice. She's a great friend.
Well, I find that story kind of funny because when I asked Miho about her story with Lynxcats, because I know she wasn't one of the original members,
Mm-hmm.
but I remember she said she was friends with Lala, I think,
Uh-huh.
and she heard you, and she's like, "Oh, I really like Moon's voice. Can you introduce us? Like, can you introduce me to her?" And like she was like a little shy about it, and then she met you, and then I guess like the rest is history. But it's so funny because you were a fan of hers, and
Yeah.
it was like the opposite was true as well. Like she was a fan of yours. So
And I didn't know that because she never
mm,
told me that story. So as soon as I finished watching the video, the
mm,
podcast you did with
mm,
her,
mm,
I went to her private message
mm.
and I was saying like, "Are you kidding me? You like my voice? What is going on?" And it was so funny. I felt really loved in some kind of way.
Did you tell her that you were eventually tell her that you used to be like a big fan of hers?
I tell her that all the time. She posts a cover or
Mm, mm,
she makes a duet with another Lynxcats member, and I'm
mhm,
like,
mhm.
"Yes, this is why I'm your biggest fan. Did you know that I was always subscribed to your channel since I was 10 years old?" And I just compliment her all the time.
Oh, that's hilarious. Just kind of with in regards to kind of what you just said, kind of in the sense that she's the oldest, so she's kind of helps the other members and
Hmm.
whatnot. Do you feel that everyone kind of has a specific role in the group?
I guess you could say that we all give each other a lot of strength. So it's like, for example, Lodi is the youngest one, right?
Okay.
So maybe sometimes she doesn't feel as comfortable as she would feel with Mio. So
Mm-hmm.
she sees me as her oldest sister. And then
Mm-hmm.
she comes to me and she talks to me and we sort things out. So I guess you could say that our relationships, they all meant each other and complement each other.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
So we can always count on each other, and even if we don't really know, don't have much experience about that certain aspect of
Mm-hmm.
life or
Mm-hmm.
a relationship or something, we can always discuss about it and come up with a solution. So I don't think we have singular positions. Yeah, I don't make any sense. I give up.
Kind of. I mean, like I get what you're saying. You're just saying like you all have roles that kind of like complement each other, but you don't
Yeah,
have defined roles. But
yeah.
as a group, you like kind of function together.
Exactly. Sorry, I'm
Okay.
really bad with words. Like I can't. I can't. I just
It's
can't.
all. Hey, I understood it, so it's okay. Sorry, Moon. You mentioned that you enjoy writing and reading. Are there any particular writers you kind of look up to?
Yes. Stephen King is one of
Oh,
my
okay.
favorite authors, and Edgar Allan Poe, and also Jane Austen and Sarah J. Maas.
Okay. Are you a big fan of kind of like that horror genre?
Yeah, I love it. I watch horror movies all the time, and I really enjoy reading books as well.
Okay. What are some of your favorite horror movies that you've watched?
The name is As Above, So Below. I don't know if you've ever watched it.
No, I haven't. What's the premise? Like, what's it about?
It's about a group of archaeologists. Is that
Okay.
how you say it?
Yeah, archaeologists. Yeah.
Archaeologists. They go to France to see a feel like those underground sites where people
Okay.
go, and then there's like this curse going around, and then they get stuck underground,
Mm-hmm.
and there are like zombies and witches
Oh,
and
okay.
all that kind of creepy
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
When they talk about it, it sounds lame, but it's a pretty good movie.
Okay. So it's a French movie.
No, I think it's American, but like,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay, I'll check it out. Sounds like something I would watch. Are you more into let's say like supernatural horror or more slasher, murderer kind of horror?
It really depends on my mood, but
Okay.
I enjoy both equally, you could
Mm-hmm.
say. But sometimes I just crave for something like Jigsaw or something like that.
Okay. Okay.
But I think that what really appeals to my taste is the supernatural stuff.
Do you have any more? Just off the top of your head, just ones that stand out to you.
The Woman in Black, is that how you say it?
The
I
Woman
don't.
in Black. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a movie that I've heard of.
Is the
Let me
one
look it
with
up.
Daniel Radcliffe, I think.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one. There are two movies, if I'm not wrong.
Okay.
They're both great.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like Supernatural. I don't know if that's the name.
The television series, or?
No, the movies.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it might be called something different. Yeah.
Let me see.
Okay, okay, yeah, no problem.
Oh yeah, the name is Insidious.
Oh, Insidious, yes, okay.
I'm so lame. I don't know the name of the movie.
It's okay. It's alright.
Yeah, all the Insidious movies are pretty good, but I guess my favorite one is the second.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one in London, I think.
Okay.
It's pretty good.
Moon, do you remember like the first horror movie you watched?
I don't think the oh my god, I forgot the name.
Labyrinth.
Yeah, I don't think that one's considered a horror movie, but it freaked me out.
It's kind of creepy for kids, I think.
Yeah, I think I watched it for the first time when I was 11 or
Okay.
12 or something like that. So that part with the dude that has eyes in his hands,
Oh, yes.
that creeped me out.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was kind of a trauma, but after some time, I just started loving that movie. So you could say that was the first one I watched.
Okay, I would count that just because, like I said, it has some creepy themes to it, and to a kid
Yeah.
especially, I think that would drive that. In terms of reading, so do you just read those authors that you mentioned previously, or are there some like other stuff? Like what, I guess, genres you like? Horror, and I forget. Jane Austen. What would I categorize Jane Austen as? Like classic? I don't know.
Yeah, classic literature and romance.
Oh, okay.
I really enjoy reading romance, and
Okay.
you could say any fantasy book.
Okay.
I love it as long as it's related to fantasy and romance. I just love it. But yeah, anything that has this kind of fantasy theme, like Frankenstein. I really
Okay.
enjoyed reading that
Okay.
one.
Mm-hmm.
So you could say that's it.
Okay. Well, now I kind of understand since you're big into romance, I can see why you're into K dramas, because that's a big theme in K dramas, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of kind of like fantasy, did you ever watch Hotel de Luna? Because that's very fantasy oriented.
Yeah,
right?
I've watched that one, but I didn't finish. I stopped like at the middle of the series, so I don't really know what it is like towards the end.
I don't know how you didn't finish it, Moon, but that's okay.
I kind of had this feeling that she was going to die or something like that. So I was kind of taken aback, and I thought
It is a super sad show, but like in a good way. Okay.
it's heartbreaking. I don't want to watch it then.
There's so much. I think for that show, for anybody who's like just unaware, it has to deal with death, a lot of death. So I found even in the early episodes, it's really, despite it's a really light theme, I think, to the show, like the vibe you get, but at the same time, underneath it, there's a really heavy vibe to it as well, just
Yeah.
dealing with death and the afterlife. So
Yeah, I felt
yeah.
the way towards Moon Lovers as well, which is the other K-drama IU acts. And it was so heartbreaking. So when I finished that one, I thought, yeah, maybe Hotel Del Luna is going to be just as heartbreaking. I don't want to go through that again.
Yeah, I don't want to say too much in case you do watch it. It's sad, but there's definitely like it could have been worse.
Ah, damn. I don't think I'm going to finish it.
Damn it, man. Okay. So Moon, maybe you just tell us about Lynxcats and how it's been in the last 2 years, and just kind of in the sense of, you've only been around 2 years, but you, as a group, you've had a lot of success in that short amount of time. So how have you grown as an artist? How was it in the early days? That kind of thing.
I think that's something that has really improved besides our talents and our abilities is that we've come to a point and we've come to agree that we don't want to take it as lightly as before. So when we do a cover now, it's not like let's just do it and finish it and post it and go to the next one. It's more of a process in which we are really giving our whole hearts to it. So we record our stuff, and then if it doesn't sound right, we do it again and we do it again. And then if, I don't know, it comes out wrong, we have a discussion about it, and we try to come up with the best solution and the best result that we can. So we are really focusing on that. And at the same time, since we now have released our first song, we are really trying to use that energy in our own music as well. So we are aiming for something that is out of our comfort zone. So it's kind of nerve-wracking at the same time, but it's pretty exciting, so I guess it's okay.
I know it was a lot of work to do Arcade Love, obviously, but are you looking forward to releasing more of your own content?
Yeah, of course. It's something that since the beginning, we've always considered it. It was something that we wanted to do, but we didn't really have much audience to really release anything. So right now, it sounds like the good moment to start working on that, working towards that. So of course we are going to take the chance and we are going to work on that.
And just kind of in regards to how you kind of said at the start when you were doing covers, it was different, and now you're really trying to improve basically like every time. How can you make it better? So looking back on your, I guess, first few covers, can you listen to them anymore, or you're kind of just, or is it just so
awkward?
Yes, like you know, like when you watch a YouTuber's like first video, or you know, whenever it's just so weird, like watching yourself or hearing yourself back then. So is it? Do you feel that way with your original tracks with Lynxcats?
I mean, yeah, I think it's something pretty natural, you know. I listen to it and I'm making all those kind of expressions of disgust. But at the same time that I really hate how I sounded like, I feel really proud of myself, because if I had stopped at that moment, I wouldn't be as good as I am now. And I'm not saying by any means that I am the greatest or anything like that. But you can notice, especially when it's something that you've done for so many years.
Yes.
You can notice, like when you go to the first video, you can notice that you gave so much of yourself in that work. And you have evolved so much, and you should be proud of that, you know? Maybe you sound awkward, maybe you're disgusted, but you've really improved, and it's something that you need to be proud of. So yeah, even though I feel kind of disgusted towards it, I still watch it and I make fun of myself, and at the same time I take notes, like, you're not supposed to do this, or look here, you did a mistake, don't do this again. So it's kind of a way to practice. It's kind of practicing everything that you've come to experience, and try to improve yourself.
Yeah, that's a great way of looking at it, because you have to see how far you've come by watching or reviewing your work. Because if you were as good as you were from day one to now, really you didn't grow. But the fact that day one wasn't where you are now, that shows, wow, you know, in the last 2 years, we've all improved. You know, so I think that's always a good thing and good for your perspective. Oh yeah, I do actually have one question that I think I forgot to ask Myio in regards to where do you get your music backtrack for the songs, because they sound great. I'm just wondering, is there a way to like remove the vocals off the track that you do, or is there a separate spot where you get the actual music backing?
It's actually like we try to get the official instrumental, and sometimes the official instrumental comes with the backing vocals and sometimes it doesn't. And since we are always trying to use the official one instead of those made by fans, you know, sometimes they come like kind of I don't know, smushed or something like that.
Yes. Oh yeah.
So when the official instrumental is just the instrumental, we have to do the back vocals ourselves. So we go to YouTube and we search for the hidden vocals of the song, and we keep practicing and recording until it sounds just as good as the original one. That was what you asked, right? I didn't...
No, essentially, yes, I'm just asking where you get the background music from, because like I said, it sounds really good and like the original, which makes sense now that given your answer.
Okay.
Just in regards to the Q&A you did with just the Lynxcats Q&A on your YouTube, it says that you're usually the fastest person to do the recording.
Yeah.
So is that just your personality? You're that one of those people who has, like, when you're given a task, you do it right away and submit it right away?
Yeah, I don't really like to be a bother. So, of course, I'm not saying that the others are a bother
No.
for taking their time, but it's more like I want to finish it as soon as possible. So, in case I need to redo something, I have the time to redo it. And in case Sena needs me to record the backup vocals or something like that, I have the time to actually record it and even, take my time with it, since the others take more time to record their parts. So I try as much as I can not to be a bother, and I just want to do it right away.
What's one song you would like to do cover as Lynxcats? And this is just your personal preference. It doesn't really, regardless of what all the other members say, what's a song you would like to cover?
I feel like we haven't really tried out any hip hop thing.
Okay.
So I would really like to try out NCT Kick It, or I don't know, maybe Punch, or some of their title tracks. There are have more of this hip hop bit and this rap battle or something like that. So yeah, I think it would be really nice to do that.
Would you want to be one of the main rappers in those covers?
Yeah, I really enjoy rapping, so yeah, I would definitely want to rap in that one.
Nice. Moon, what's one thing you'd like to achieve in your lifetime? And this does not have to be limited to Lynxcats.
I think I want to genuinely feel happy at some point. Sometimes you have those kind of happiness outbursts, like you feel happy at some point. But I've never actually stopped at some moment and thought, oh, I'm so happy right now, or something like that. So I want to know what that feeling feels like.
I think that's what a lot of people's underlying goal is. Like what they say they want to achieve is really that.
Yeah.
Right? So, understandable. And are there any words of wisdom, a saying you enjoy that you try to live by, Moon?
Oh, that's a hard question. Whenever I listen to a song there is always one part of the song that speaks to my heart. So I feel like that kind of quote changes every time I listen to something. So I can really give a proper answer to that.
Moon, maybe you can let us know where we can find either you or Lynxcats online.
If you want to find us on Instagram, our Instagram is Lynxcats Group. And on YouTube, our YouTube is Lynxcats. Our Twitter is Lynxcats Group, and our TikTok has the same username, but we don't really post anything on TikTok, so don't bother. As for me, I don't really post anything on social media, but if you want to follow my Instagram, is moonnoom00.
Any, I guess, projects, Lynxcats projects on the horizon that you can share with us right now?
I guess I could say that Arcade Love is just beginning, so look forward to it.
Okay, awesome. Sounds good.
Yay.
Well, Moon, thank you so much for joining me. I know English isn't your first language, so I always appreciate all my guests who make the effort to, not speak in their native language and come on the show and talk with me. You did great.
Thank you.
And, I just had a lot of fun, and I hope it was interesting for you.
I had a great time. Thanks for inviting me.
Everyone, thank you so much for listening/watching. And please subscribe for new videos every Tuesday and Friday. Please check out Lynxcats Arcade Love. It's on Spotify, iTunes, pretty much any music streaming right now. And you can also see it on YouTube. Check out their covers. They are honestly as good as the originals. Like, I'm not even saying that. Some of them you would be hard pressed to figure out if they're the original or not. So definitely worth checking out. Please take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next video.